Hi, I'm Chris Kiddo, Director of Superfund Partners. Many of our clients have been asking us recently what our approach is going to be and how we're working with people who are going to be impacted by all the new super rule changes which come into play on the 1st of July 2017. Now, before I actually jump in and explain what we're doing and what our approach is, I just want to provide a little bit of insight into these changes. I've undertaken an analysis of the clients we work with, and at least half are going to be impacted in some way. Now, the biggest change that's going to have an impact on people is the reduction of both the concessional and non-concessional contribution caps. They're going to impact about 40% of the SMSF clients we work with. But the change which actually has the deepest effect is the introduction of the new $1.6 million pension cap, or transfer balance cap it's called. Now, this change is only going to impact about 10% of our clients, or 10% of the people we work with, but it's a lot deeper in the challenges it creates for those of you who are impacted by this change. Now, all of these new rule changes are in a piece of legislation that's called the Fair and Sustainable Superannuation Act. And I think you should interpret the word sustainable as actually taking away a lot of the concessions that were previously given, going all the way back to 2007 with the Simple Super reforms. Now, these changes are complex. Our business, we work with a lot of other financial advisors and accountants, and the feedback that we get is that a lot of people, a lot of advisors are really struggling with the complexity of these new rules. So just keep that in mind, that when the professionals are struggling with it, it's probably a good indication that it's not the type of situation where you can, take no advice and do things solo. You're going to need to seek some professional advice with these changes. Another important thing to realise is that with these changes, there is no generic advice that can be given. There are no rules of thumb. There is no one-size-fits-all advice. Okay? In previous changes, it's been pretty black and white, but in this case, it is really complicated, and the actual advice that you'll receive is going to be entirely based on your personal situation. Now, in all the cases that myself and the team have looked at so far with the impact of this $1.6 million pension transfer cap, the advice has been very wide-ranging. It's touched on a number of different areas, not just dealing with that one little specific change. So it's covered off on things like the capital gains tax concessions that have been put in there as a bit of a softening blow. The application of those alone is ridiculous. It's extremely complicated, and it's really scary that when myself and my team, when we go to a conference and we hear from the best technical experts in the country, and you fire questions out at them and they can't even answer them. The best they can do is say, we're going to have to wait on the ATO and see what the ATO says in regards to how they interpret that. So that's literally how complicated these laws are, and they all come into play on the 1st of July 2017. As mentioned, when we've spoken to clients about these changes, it also covers off on things like their pensions, the contributions and recontributions they may make into their self-managed super fund. It impacts their investment and their investment strategies and how they allocate their monies. So, the good old days of, pouring all 100% of your tax-free, tax-exempt SMSF monies into, Australian equities that pay fully franked dividends may not be the best strategy moving forward in the context of these new changes. Trustees, we've looked at a lot of clients. Trustees need to be updated so we can make the changes and provide the advice and do all the strategies that we need to do to actually minimise the blow of these changes. And finally, estate planning. Once you start changing pensions around and moving money back and forth between pension and accumulation, it does impact your estate plan and how your SMSF intertwines with your personal estate plan. So, what are Superfund Partners doing about all these changes? Over the next 4 months, we're going to be going through and getting in touch with those of you who are impacted. However, if you feel you actually want to accelerate that process and get in front of us and be proactive, I'd strongly suggest that you do that. Reach out to us, make a time to come and see us. But the key message I want all of you to take away is that you're going to need advice, and the sooner you get it, the better. And if you don't get advice, you actually may miss out on opportunities that present themselves leading up to the 1st of July 2017 and beyond.